It's time to light your fuse. Hello, my friends, and welcome to the 183rd episode of the Sales Podcast. I'm Wes Shapiro, the Sales Whisperer, your host, and can you believe we've done this many? Last week, we had on Marin Kate Donovan. You want to be sure and check out her episode. I've known her for years. We met actually accidentally about a year ago in San Francisco, but she was doing a virtual assistant business and took it big time, and then it collapsed big time. It was called Zirtual. You may have read about it in the fall of 2015. She is bouncing back. Hear how she built her business, how she lost her business, and how she is finding her way again. That is on session 182. Today we've got my good friend, Mr. Jeremy Shapiro. He's got a great story. I will not steal his thunder, but I love his hustle. I did not even know the original story. He's the owner of Fuse Desk, and they integrate with Infusionsoft and provide help desk software and a very tight integration with Infusionsoft. But his story of how he built his business is quite entertaining, amusing, and insightful. So you are in for a treat. And if you are in for a bigger treat to grow your business almost one-on-one with me, check out the5.us, the5.us. You know, we've always heard the quote from Jim Rohn. He talks about you are the average of the 5 people you hang out with the most. Come to Southern California and hang out with myself and 5 other motivated entrepreneurs for 2.5 days to grow your business. Check out the5.us. And now let's bring on Mr. Jeremy Shapiro. Jeremy B. Shapiro, all the way from San Jose, California. Welcome to the Sales Podcast. How the heck are you?
I'm doing great, Wes. Thanks so much for having me today.
So do you, I noticed movie stars, back in the 90210 days, they started to use middle initials and middle names. So is that when you started using the B?
I don't use the B too often, but it's occasionally out there depending on the use case.
All right. Well, it's on your Twitter feed, so it must be official. So I had to use whatever is on Twitter.
Perfect.
All right. Very nice. Well, you and I have known each other for many years through the Infusionsoft community, but for our listeners that may not know who you are, would you mind taking a minute or two? Tell us about yourself, and we'll dive down the rabbit hole.
Sure, be happy to, Wes. Thanks. My name is Jeremy B. Shapiro, as Wes pointed out. My company is Fuse Desk, and we empower entrepreneurs' commitment to excellence. The way we do this is through the Help Desk add-on for Infusionsoft that allows companies to take great care of their customers and see exactly how well they and their team are doing.
That's it? Man, piece of cake. All right, well, the interview's over. Got to go. All right, so now inquiring minds do want to know, though, what does the B stand for? So you're going to have to tell us that before the end of the show, okay?
Wes, we're going to make sure we cover that on our next interview.
Oh, my gosh. I see how you are angling for the next one. All right. So tell me that again. Empowering entrepreneurs, what?
Commitment to excellence. Wow. A lot of us go into business and, we have a service or something we're offering. But typically when we hang our own shingle out there, we've got pride and passion in what we do. And as we grow and scale and build up our companies and have other folks come and, help us on the support side of the service side, it's important to us that we maintain that commitment to excellence. We have that pride in what we do, and we want to be able to have the pride in what the rest of our team is doing as well. And the right systems in place can help you to track exactly how satisfied your customers are, how well your team is doing, and allow you to get those metrics and insights to exactly what's being said to your customers on the customer support and customer service side of things.
All right. So how did that come to be? Were you like a computer science, computer major guy in college, or did you just stumble into this?
Well, when I started college, I liked the idea of computer systems engineering. I felt I knew the software side pretty well, the computer science side, and I wanted to balance that out with the hardware side because that seemed like they went hand in hand. During that time, I had a consulting business that I had been building since I was in high school, and during my second year of school, I faced one of those critical decision points. I was halfway through the year and trying to handle a full load of engineering classes as well as a growing full load of client work. And so I got to this little decision point where I had to choose to help the business with a little bump in growth we were having, and then come back in the fall, or say no to that business and continue on with school. And so I said, even though both my parents have always been educators for their entire lives and careers, and education is something very important to my family, I'm just going to take a semester off, handle this little bump in business, and then I'll come on back. And it ended up that little bump in business was not a bump. It was actually a trajectory, and that business continued to grow and build from there. And I still haven't finished up school, but maybe next semester, Wes.
Oh, gotcha. And so when was this?
So that was back in '99.
Wow. So you made it through the .com collapse?
We did. At the time, I had a hardware business, which was just a terrible idea. I looked to, Michael Dell and what Dell was and thought, well, hell, I'm in college and we're building computers for folks. And in fact, the name of that company was College Kid Computers. And we were selling systems to kids. In fact, I might be dating myself a bit here, Wes, but the hot new thing on campus was that some of the buildings were getting wired with Cat5 for wired internet connections.
No way.
Yes way. And so I was ordering crates of Ethernet cards. So we get the boxes of cards, and I was going direct door to door with marketing underneath the doors, selling Ethernet cards, installation services, as well as additional add-ons like if you want to buy, the 6-foot Cat5 cable or the 15-foot depending. So we had additional add-on services, and I'll never forget the first day of my second year of school. I was out there hustling door to door, putting these flyers out there. I had 3,000 printed up. And on our campus, we had tall 25-story buildings. And so I would be going up and down the stairway in every single building, putting these flyers under until we were done. And I got back to my room where there was this freshman who just come in, and I'd never met this kid before. So I walk in, and he looks at me with these wide eyes. And he holds up a list of sticky notes attached to sticky notes with just names and extensions of the dozens of calls he'd fielded in the past few hours while I was gone. And he's like, all of these people were calling for you. And so, business was good. We were busy on the hardware side, but, I quickly realized that wasn't a sustainable long-term model that I had any interest in. And so that's where we really shifted over to the software side. And I was doing more IT consulting for small businesses, custom development, database work, and all those kinds of things.
I love that. So what, had you hired that kid just to answer your phone or what?
No, he'd moved in, and he's in the middle of trying to move his stuff into the room. I'd moved in a few days early so I could start the marketing side of things. He'd never met me, and just the phone kept ringing, and he kept answering it, writing down names and extensions, and couldn't even open the top to a box because the phone would ring again with the next person calling in to schedule me to come in and buy a card and get hooked up.
So they couldn't just text you or send you a Facebook message?
Neither of those existed at the time. Crazy.
Man, old school, like a phone attached to a wall kind of thing, and you had to answer it?
I didn't have to answer it. I had somebody who was answering that. He didn't know he was working for me, and he never really was. But he was helpful that first day, I'll say that.
So you didn't give him like 1% share in your company, and he's worth like a billionaire, like some of the cashiers at Walmart?
I'm pretty sure he moved out at some point after that. But
he wasn't getting any sleep because the phone kept ringing?
Right. No, he had other focuses besides the academic side, but that's fine. He was a good guy, and ended up getting the whole place to myself. And I found out that I really wasn't even back at the dorm much. I was mostly on site with clients, doing consulting work beyond that as well. Not in the college scene, but more businesses back in the Boston area. So I'd be driving up and back, doing on site work with clients, virtual development work, and more from there.
Gotcha. Well, I got my first real tour of downtown Boston and Cambridge back in November. I'm starting to do some work with HubSpot, and a friend of ours from here, she's a freshman at Harvard, gave me a tour. Actually, my son's out there now for spring break. Very cool city, man. Why'd you leave there?
Well, you visited during the right time, Wes, which November sounds just about right. September to October is sort of the best time there.
It was a crazy warm spell, too. I mean, I was in shorts. It was nice.
That's exactly the nice time of year to be there. In the summer, we got a lot of humidity, and in the winter, we have that. What's that white stuff that comes down on the ground and covers everything? And
cocaine? No, I'm sorry. That's Miami. I'm getting my cities mixed up.
A little mixed up, yeah. So it was all that snow and ice. I just had no interest in dealing with that. I grew up in that area, and love where I came from and our friends and family who were there. But we got our sights on California. My brother had moved out here and started a family. And we realized that, California had family for us, better weather, and much better Mexican food than Boston.
Get out of town.
No joke?
That probably is true. I eat a lot of Mexican food here, and it's pretty dang good.
Sure is.
All right. So you're in school. You get busy. So how long were you in school? A year, a semester, or what?
Year and a half.
Okay.
And, from there, things got busy. We were growing the business. I brought on my first business coach and consultant to work with us and help structure things and answer some of those questions and make the introductions that I probably wouldn't have been able to make on myself as quickly. And so, that was sort of one of those cool levers in business, bringing on more experienced folks to help give us some of that direction. And from that, I heard about this thing called networking. And I was told that's like a good thing for your business, like you get to meet people, and that can be helpful. And it was from there that I actually went to a networking class, as crazy as that sounds, and learned what to do, and ended up going to networking events and joined this group called BNI, Business Networkers International. And it was from there that I met somebody who's become really important in my life, who's been a business partner in many ventures over the years, and one of my closest friends. And so her name's Sheila, and when my wife and I got married, I had me and my wife, my best man, my brother on one side, and Sheila on the other. She's been fantastic, and it all came from one chance meeting through BNI. We got together for what's called your dance card, where you meet with someone and get to know each other's business and how you can help each other. And right from that first conversation, Sheila said to me, well, that's great. What can I be doing to help you? And I'm looking at her like I'm not sure. I hadn't really thought about that. And I mentioned, well, I've got this presentation coming up. And she said, cool. Well, why don't I go to the presentation with you, and I can help out and take care of getting information to folks who are there during your presentation and be an extra set of hands for you. And I was like, that'd be amazing. Thank you. And she said, well, I also have this customer base. I was thinking, can I go ahead and do a mailing to my customer base to let them know about your business and what you guys do, and see if there might be an overlap where they can help you out? This was an awesome idea. So, I went back to my board and I said to them, hey, we've got this great opportunity.
So
where
you had a board?
Yeah, I had a board of 3 other folks on my company, advisors and helping out there. One of them, actually 2 of the folks on the board actually worked for me at the time. One on the project management side, one on the tech implementation side. So I went back to them with this idea of like, hey, there's somebody who wants to help us out, and they're going to mail for us. Isn't this awesome? And everyone was looking at me saying, well, hold on. What does she want for this? I'm like, well, she wants to help me out. Like, well, no. Like, there's an angle here. What is it? Like, what's the contract look like? What's the structure? And I said, there's somebody here who's looking to help us out. And, I think it comes from the right place. And I think this is a good thing. In fact, I think it'd be kind of cool if we did a mailing to our customers about her business. Wouldn't that be neat? And so the question is, well, what are the percentages and what does this look like and what's the structure? And, I ended up not listening to them on this point. And, she had helped me out. I helped her out. And it was the beginning of this really great friendship where, based on this whole mentality of giver's gain. If you're looking for how you can help other folks out there and what you can do to support and serve others, it's amazing the growth and things that can come from there. And that really led into Sheila and I launching a number of businesses over the years. That really is what gets me towards the world of Infusionsoft and meeting Clayton and the other guys early on in the Infusionsoft days and more, was all just from that friendship to business partner to suggestions and directions and places we went from there.
Very cool. Yeah, I was in BNI years ago, and I still my realtor I met through BNI, and we do deals with her. She helped my extended family buy houses. My insurance agent I found through them. My auto mechanic, my chiropractor, my dentist, found all those through BNI.
Yep. It's a great group. Earlier on, it was it was wonderful for our business model, and we got some wonderful clients and referrals and stuff out of that in the day as well.
So is Sheila? Is she on your board, or is she a co-owner in the business, or what?
So Sheila and I had many businesses over the years, and it was during one of those that we had brought on another business consultant from eMyth Worldwide. If you haven't read the eMyth Revisited, Michael Gerber's sort of flagship book, highly recommended read. It was through going through that we were connected with eMyth Worldwide's top coach that works with some of the biggest and best businesses across the globe, that when eMyth Worldwide gets a phone call and they ask, who do we talk to, they point to him. He just happened to be local out where our business was located, and we started working with him, which was just game-changing for us. In fact, we had a business at the time that was a real estate data subscription business, and we had brought on this coach to help us grow that business and give us some direction. And our coach, David, was the guy who actually introduced us to the whole world of Dan Kennedy and GKIC and that whole world. And I remember our business coach had told us, like, this is a really important event for you to go to. It was their super conference forever ago. And it was a pretty high ticket price. And I'm looking at it from the financial side saying, well, hold on, we're going to spend how much money going to the event and paying for a ticket and paying for the rooms and flights and food and this and that, and what are we going to get from it? What's the direct ROI? And, our coach knew that we were considering running some events of our own, and he was smart. He said, well, Jeremy, I'll tell you what, you guys are looking to run some events. Just watch how they run the events. Just look at what they do for their event, and that might help you out. And I said, okay, I could see why this might count as some research. We can do that. So I'll never forget, Wes, my notes from that first day at the super conference. My first line is something like, oh, they play this kind of music, and oh, they open the doors this way, and when they have the stage set up like this, and the room's organized like this, and then, oh, this guy Dan came on the stage and he said this, and like about halfway down the page, my notes quickly never returned to the world of how they run an event, and now are entirely on all the great content and ideas and points from the speakers who were there at the event. And it was from –
when was that?
That must have been 2000 and I'm going to say 2005-ish, somewhere at that time.
Okay. Yeah, I think within a year or so I was going to his stuff. And
yeah.
Actually, I just got a contract sitting here on my desk. I'm speaking at their super conference.
Outstanding.
May 1st in Jacksonville.
Outstanding. You will see our team down there as well. That's an outstanding event.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah, so if you're not familiar with the world of Dan Kennedy, or Planet Dan as it can be called at times, you definitely want to plug yourself into that. One of the pieces of feedback that we got out of that was that we need to diversify the product line. So our business at the time is purely subscription continuity based with the real estate data, and the idea came up, well, we should probably have some educational events and probably have some products too, and maybe some third-party offers, and all these different additional revenue streams for the business beyond sort of the core business there. So for whatever your business is, for our listeners here today, that's a good writer-downer, is to look at what else can add a revenue stream into the business and how you might fit that in with congruency to help your customers out there. And so one of the ideas that we got from our coach at the time, and we were paying him a fair amount of money for this, he had sort of guided us to getting the answers to questions we didn't know we had, right? Which is, I think, part of the definition of a great coach. And one little idea he gave us literally helped us double our revenues 1 month over the next month. And we sort of scratched our heads and said, well, that's interesting. And then he did it again the following month. And we said, okay, this is great. We've once again sought out the experts that we need, and we've gotten really game-changing ideas from them that we're able to implement and execute in our business.
Okay. I thought you were going to tell me a story. Oh, well.
Yeah. Well, it was sort of just the point there was, seek out help and get it where you need it in the business. You don't know what you don't know, and folks who've been where you haven't been have been helpful.
Yep.
It was actually at one of the Glazer Kennedy events that I first met Clayton and the team when they were getting Infusionsoft going. And Clayton was sharing with me, this great new company they're starting, and here's everything Infusionsoft does. And I said, oh, that sounds so cool. But the entire CRM for our real estate data company, I built from scratch. Everything from the e-commerce to the subscription billing to the customer service and support to the live events to upsells to automated marketing, everything I built from scratch by hand. And here's this guy I just meet who's telling me, hey, Jeremy, we just did all of that, and you can just out of the box have all that stuff. And I'm like, oh, if only this was here a few years ago.
Right.
It didn't make sense for me at the time to port my existing business over, but my commitment to Clayton was, I said, the next business we launch, I'm launching on Infusionsoft from day one, so we don't have to build all that infrastructure, and we can, out of the gate, be processing commerce and handling subscriptions and running marketing automation and following up with our prospects and doing all of that. So thank you guys for doing that work. And we had that opportunity in 2009. We were launching our next spin-off business from there, and when we did, I followed through on that commitment, and we got on board with Infusionsoft, and on day one, we're processing subscriptions and orders and opt-ins and everything in Infusionsoft without writing any code.
Yeah.
It was great. We got to focus on the marketing and building the business and not worry about the technology piece.
Yeah, very cool. Yeah, I found Infusionsoft through Dan Kennedy.
Yep.
It's amazing how many people he has brought into the Infusionsoft umbrella.
Well, Dan was personally one of the earliest investors in Infusionsoft, so he's got a stake in that.
Yeah, very smart.
Very, very smart. So as we launched that next business of ours on Infusionsoft, I realized that there was sort of this gap. We wanted to do something different. This happened to be an information marketing business. So we were selling live events, and we were selling boxes of material and CDs and things like that. And we said, well, this industry is called info products and info marketing, and there's sort of this bad rep in the industry that speakers will go out there and speak on stage and sell a product, send the order forms back to the office, get on a plane, go speak on a different stage, sell products, and sort of there's this very sales focus to the company. But then what happens after someone buys is not the focus of the business owner. And that just didn't feel right to me. We always came into our businesses with integrity, wanted to do the right thing, take care of our customers, and do right by them. And I said, if we're going to do this, when we launch this info business, I want to make sure that we're able to take great care of our customers. That's really important to me. And so as we launched the business on Infusionsoft, I started looking for the right help desks that were out there. And we tried all the big names. There have been some new ones in the field in the past few years as well. And every solution we found, there's always one of 4 different critical puzzle pieces missing. And sometimes all four were missing. But we wanted the system that would allow us to take great care of our customers, would integrate to Infusionsoft, would be easy for our reps to use, and provide a great experience to the customers. And everything we looked at was missing anywhere from 1 to 4 of those critical pieces. And that just didn't seem right to us. And so there was a high-end mastermind group that I was part of, and I was sitting around the table with everyone, and I said, I'm thinking about building this help desk to allow us to take great care of our customers. Does that seem like a silly use of resources? Shouldn't we be focused on building the business and not that side? And the feedback I got from folks is yeah, that's a bad business model. Don't go create a help desk product. You should focus on your business. But hey, Jeremy, if you build a help desk for Infusionsoft, can we also use it? So we knew right off the bat, Wes, that there was demand. That even though they were saying don't do that, they were also saying, but if you do it, we want access to it as well.
Right.
So those 3 initial customers, that said to us we wanted as well, that were our beta customers from day one back in 2009. All 3 are still with us to this day. Oh, wow. And have continued to be there as paying customers with us from when we launched in spring of 2010 to the world, as it were, and continue to provide great feedback. But now they're part of a much bigger ecosystem and community.
So is FuseDesk your only focus now, or do you still have other businesses?
So we do have some other add-ons for Infusionsoft, but FuseDesk, by and large, is where most of my time and energy is spent. And it's certainly the flagship product of the stuff we have. We've got other add-ons and things out there as well that we support and build. But FuseDesk is by far the flagship product.
Gotcha. So how long did it take to transition from whatever it was you were doing and making money on your info products to having FuseDesk become the main tool?
So between those two, that's a great question. We had the development of the help desk going on the side as a product. And one thing I found over time is if you want to create the quick and dirty way of doing something for yourself that solves sort of one use case, it takes, let's call it X amount of time, right? If you want to build something that other people can also use, so you have more of a tool that savvier tech folks can go and use in their systems as well, that might take 10x the amount of time. And this, you might remember, Wes, in the old days, people would say things like, oh, hey, I got the script that does this, and someone's like, cool, can I have that script, right? You go run it on your own servers, you got to configure it and manage it and all this stuff. But then to actually make something as a product that people can go get on their own and self-manage and get support on and get help on and things like this, that takes 100 to 10,000x what that initial sort of quick and dirty tool might be. So for us to build a tool, it was a matter of months to getting this online and working, that we were actually dog fooding it. A little Silicon Valley term out here for using your own stuff in the business. But then it was the transition for us is really quick. I mean, now when folks migrate over to coming on board with the FuseDesk to handle their customer service, you just change where your support address forwards, and a minute later you're using FuseDesk to take care of your customers' cases. So the transition is actually pretty quick.
Well, okay, so that transition, but your transition though, I mean, you were using it internally, but then 10x to 1,000x. So I mean, was it years before FuseDesk became your main business?
Great question. So the other business that we were using FuseDesk in, we ended up selling our interest in that business at the end of 2011. Okay. So that was a few years, and I was doing some boutique consulting for a number of high-end clients, on the Infusionsoft side and business development and technical side. While also building FuseDesk, but I'll be honest, it wasn't a huge focus for our energy and time. It was a great product; it did well, and it just didn't have my full attention. But our customers were cared for, and it's still a good product. But really, starting in 2014, that shift focused, and so now it is where a significant amount of my time, energy, and resources go to, where our largest team is, where our largest customer base is, and where we have the largest impact. So it's not so much a matter of how long it took; it's a matter of when we decided to make that transition.
Gotcha. And is that just because, for lack of a better term, were you lazy? Were you just comfortable? Was your other business just kind of on autopilot and you didn't want to make the shift?
It was a matter of focus. When I was doing consulting work with other companies, I was doing that for a number of years, but that's, dollars per hour. And the dollars can be good, but at the end of the day, you've worked X hours, you've gotten some money from that, but until you go back out and do that again the next day, it's not scalable, right? I could certainly go with an agency model, but it's just not something that I wanted to do. And so when I sat back and looked at that, I tried to do like a 50-50 for a while, where 50% working on the FuseDesk side, which is a buildable, scalable business, and 50% on the consulting side. I really had to make that tough decision to, wind down the consulting side to focus the energy on building up the sustainable, growable business.
Gotcha. And so now, how many people are on your team?
So we've got a team of 6 right now, and a handful. Most of those folks are on the customer service and support side. We also have a partner program concierge who works with all of our FuseDesk partners. We've got our chief ringleader who sort of oversees everything else within that. We've got one person on our team who heads up the support team, and more.
Cool.
Yeah.
And so that's it. You're going to focus there. Are you going to roll out something new, or do you think this is it sustainable? Are you going to try to support Entreport, HubSpot, ActiveCampaign, any of these other tools?
So there's a few really good questions in there that have maybe surprisingly different answers. In terms of where we want to grow, there's sort of 3 directions. Think of your X, Y, Z coordinates, as it were, that we could grow, right? We could go cross-platform and be a help desk for the Entreports, for the Salesforce, for all these kind of things, and we could do that. But it's already a pretty red ocean out there for generic help desks or platform-specific help desks. Infusionsoft is the one that we deeply, deeply integrate with, and we do a phenomenal job. And so for folks on Infusionsoft, there's no comparison out there for the help desk for Infusionsoft that's FuseDesk, right? The wider we were to go on that, there's already companies taking good care of customers there, and we start to lose that as deep integration as we're able to have right now. So the other direction we can go is provide more for that same customer base, right? So this would be like sister products. So we have FeedBolt, which is an RSS to email product. To build that out more, we have InstaCharge It, which allows one-click upsells to process instantly versus like a day later. We have FuseSpire, which integrates Interspire into Infusionsoft, right? So there's other products that we can continue to build out those sort of complementary product lines. Or we could go deeper and do more with our existing FuseDesk customers that is sort of within that realm. And so that's the direction we're really focusing on, which is doing more within FuseDesk to take care of that customer base. So, for example, we rolled out our outbound dialer as a beta to our customers towards the end of last year. And this allows folks, while handling a support case and taking care of a customer, to click the phone number and right from their browser, dial out and connect to a customer. So what this allows folks to do is, from the support side or sales side, they can connect with those customers on the phone, and that will let them either provide a callback or do anything along those lines. Furthermore, as we look at the inbound dialing side, that'll let folks have inbound calls come in, route those calls, and be able to handle them with really interesting business logic.
Now, are you afraid at all that you're hitching too much of your business on one platform? I know from my experience, and they kind of forced my hand, Infusionsoft did, how they kept changing the contracts. And, and I'm more of a sales guy just selling their software. But the constant changes really put me in a tough spot. Do you sleep well at night? I mean, you don't think you're putting too much into one platform that you don't own?
So it's a very fair question. The question does cross our minds, and when we started FuseDesk, Infusionsoft had under 4,000 customers. So that's one of the reasons everyone was saying, Jeremy, that's a terrible business idea. If you're just catering to the entirety pool of customers you can work with is 4,000, that's kind of small, right? Now, to be fair, they're up past 30,000 now, somewhere around 34,000, I believe. So yeah, it's been a good company to grow with, if that makes sense. But might they change things? Yes. Have they? Yes. The good news is that at the moment, these are still our customers that we're merchanting transactions with. It's not a matter of us selling Infusionsoft. We've got great partners like you, for example, Wes, who help folks onboard with Infusionsoft. That's not our core business. So, how Infusionsoft structures their partner agreements and things like that affects a lot of the folks on the sales side. But on the development side, Clayton and the rest of the team have very clearly expressed over the last number of years that they want Infusionsoft to be the core platform, that they don't want to pursue all these other vertical niche add-ons. Internally, they want to create the ecosystem so the rest of us, developers out there that create add-on apps can extend and expand the product into different niches for the various customer niches. So they very much are saying our plan is to create a system for you to grow as well.
Cool. And I guess they could always go like with Customer Hub, right? I mean, they went and bought Customer Hub. And so if you had a membership site, it's like Memberium or iMember360, those guys are obviously still in business and doing well, but there's internal competition from the company that they're integrating with, right? So, I mean, is that just a calculated risk you just have to take?
So in your example with Customer Hub, right, like if you've seen the chats and the different groups and all where folks are asking like, hey, so when's Customer Hub getting a refresh or an update or something else? It's just not been a core focus for them as a company. It's an add-on that hasn't seen love in years, right? So there's a reason Memberium, for example, continues to grow because they're solving something, actively developing and actively getting better and better and better and helping more folks out there who are leaving Customer Hub and going over to Memberium, right? Now, by the same token, folks might ask, well, wouldn't Infusionsoft sort of internalize and allow help desk to be a core part of the product? Mm-hmm. Well, interestingly, those of us who were with Infusionsoft back in 2007-ish, 2008 era, there was a internal ticketing system. Yeah.
Hey, your signal's getting a little choppy there.
That got choppy?
Yeah.
Can you hear me okay now?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Will you edit that out later? Should I just restart that point?
Sure.
Cool. So, little known fun fact for those of you who are with Infusionsoft in the 2006, 2007, 8-ish era, there used to be an internal ticket system. In fact, if you look at the API documentation, there's still reference to these legacy ticket tables and ticket stages and things like that. So Infusionsoft had an internal system that like an initial group of customers had some access to, but they ended up depreciating that, closing it down and shutting it down, not even supporting it, even though it's full of bugs and they know that. It's just so off core business that it's no longer part of the business and something that they don't want to pursue. So they've sort of been there, tried it, and now we're creating the ecosystem side.
Very nice. All right, man. Well, the one question I like to end with is, imagine our listeners, they're at the gym, they're on a bike ride, they're on a plane, they don't have Wi-Fi, and but they've listened to this. I don't ever want people to just listen. Right? I want them to go do. What would be your advice to somebody that they need to go do as soon as they get to a point, they pull their car over, they get home from the gym, what should they go do to grow a business, to succeed in their ventures?
So I think a big piece of that is finding the right team. The right team can make or break things for you, and sort of the pre-step to that is figuring out what your core values are with your existing team, with your existing leadership, with just yourself if it's only you, and use those core values to find that right team. Hire for your core values, promote for your core values, fire for your core values, bring on new customers for your core values, and build everything all around that. If you don't know what those are, Just like if you don't know where you're going, you won't know when you get there.
Right. So smooth whiskey and a bold cigar, are those like good values?
Those could bundle up under one core value. For example, one of ours is we have pride, passion, and a sense of ownership in what we do, and we have fun doing it. So for me, that would fall into the have fun doing it category.
Oh, I like the way you think. Very nice. All right, Mr. Jeremy B, and the B stands for?
We'll tell you next time.
Oh, my gosh. How's that for suspense? So where can people find you, man? Where should we send them?
So head on over to www.fusedesk.com. If you're on Infusionsoft, there's a world of help we have there for you, allow you to take great care of your customers. If you're not on Infusionsoft, that's okay. We're not all perfect. I understand. Wes can help you out with that. It's not a fit for everyone, and I mean that truly. So if you are using Infusionsoft in your business, that's awesome. We can help you, and we'd love to. So check out www.fusedesk.com. One cool thing we have there for your listeners, Wes, is they have the ability to get a free FuseDesk demo app. When we do demo applications, they're fully functional. There's no time limit, and there's no credit card needed. So you can actually really deep dive in and start using our product fully to see if it's a good fit for you and your support team, even if that's just you right now.
Right. Very cool. All right, man. Jeremy Shapiro, all the way from San Jose. Thanks for coming on the Sales Podcast.
Thanks for having me, Wes.
All right, have a great day.
You too.
So how cool is that, huh? Old school hustle, passing out flyers and letting his roommate that he didn't even know answer his calls. I love getting down to the nitty-gritty, getting down to the nuts and bolts, rubber meets the road. How did you build your business? And hearing those kind of stories, how people launched. I forget who I was talking to very recently. We're talking about Procter & Gamble. P&G, people take it for granted that there's some big, Fortune 50 company. But there were actually two dudes. I think they were brothers-in-law, Procter & Gamble. And they were selling soap and whatever else. And they actually had to hustle, knock on doors, and they got contracts with the U.S. Army. And that put them on the map. So, every big company that you see started with somebody getting things done. We talked about in this interview about Michael Dell. Michael was just building computers in his dorm room. Steve Jobs and Wozniak were just, Wozniak was just building stuff in his garage and wanted to give his stuff away. So get started, right? Get your hustle on. Start knocking on doors, passing out flyers, do what you got to do to make the phone ring and grow your business. And so, as I always say, go back and re-listen to this because there's little nuances in there you may have missed. Listen to it a couple times, take some notes, and apply what you learned. And if you need help applying what you learned, if you need help getting some insight and doing it quickly to launch your business, I've been talking about The Five. So visit the5.us. Come here to Southern California, hang out with me, 5 other motivated entrepreneurs. And we will help you grow your business fast, okay? Everything is covered once you get here, so you just got to get here, the5.us. And after you sign up there, leave a comment on the website about this episode. Please share this on Twitter. Share it. Give us a 5-star review on iTunes. That helps it bubble up so others can find it and benefit as well. Thanks for listening. And as always, remember to sell different.